So, good morning, everyone. As a reminder, I'm Bethany Simpson, the Data Outreach Officer here at ILS on the research team. Today, we are going to have the opportunity to answer any questions you may have regarding the spring 2026 reporting requirements. So, we're joined by quite a few people from ILS here today. We have the Director of Research, Melissa Mackey, Senior Research Associate for the Family Court, Riley Weinstein, Statewide Implementation Analyst Luchelli Chisuka, Senior Research Associate Carline Cowpers, Senior Research Associate Alyssa Clark, our Research Graduate Intern Diavion Brown, Attorney in charge of the Western New York Regional Support Center, Margaret Phillips, I believe is going to be joining us, the CDR Attorney for Region B, Brendan Keller, CDR Resource Support and Data Specialist Tim Dubray, and the Program Associate for Family Court, Di Nguyen. So, before we get started, as a reminder, all three reports are reporting on the 2025 calendar year. So that is going to be January 1st to December 31st for 2025. The PRR 195 report for Family Court is due on March 2nd, 2026. The April Performance Measures Report Form is due on April 1st, 2026. The ILS 195 with the staffing charts, if applicable to your office, is due April 1st, 2026. But with the Push the Button campaign, we are encouraging providers to submit as early as February 13th if they are able to do so. So we are going to do this guided by report. We're going to first address any questions you may have for the PRR 195 for family court reporting. We have Riley Weinstein here to assist with any questions you may have. So let's start with questions for the PRR 195. You guys can shout out questions, you can raise your hand, you can put them in the chat, however you'd prefer. Heather?
Hi, so my first question is dealing with the currently open petition report. I've been trying to get that pulled from CMS, but I've noticed it pulls even when I put like the specific dates in for like the last day of the year. It pulls everything currently opened, even stuff that's been open in 2026. So okay. I don't know if that's a question somebody can help me with.
So you're having trouble pulling for a certain date. So it's kind of giving you the entire year and not specifying whether those petitions are still open at the last day of the calendar year.
Yeah, so it's giving me just anything currently, like if I was to pull it today, it would be anything currently open on this date.
Right.
Or that's open up until now.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what case management system do you use?
CMS.
Is it
NYPD CMS?
Oh, PDCMS. Okay. Yeah. So I would recommend talking with NYSDA about that, since they're the vendor. So they'll be able to help you with the technical issues on like the pulling the data end. I'd be happy to connect you with somebody at NYSDA for that.
Okay. I did call somebody at CMS, but they could not tell me how to do it. So
okay.
I don't know if there was a miscommunication or not. So I didn't know if anybody else was having that same problem potentially. And the only reason I know it is because I added one little thing onto the report, which allowed me to see the day that it was opened, which allowed me to see that. So I just didn't know if anybody else was having that problem too.
If anyone else wants to jump in, feel free. But either way, Heather, I will send you a follow-up email after this, and we can see what next steps we can take.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Melissa. Can I jump in and ask a question? Heather, did NYSDA, did they create a canned report, a specific report that you were able to run in your PDCMS to help you answer, or did you create the report yourself to try to get the information we need for the PRR 195?
I cannot answer that question because this is my first year doing this.
Gotcha.
But it was already in the report builder system.
Okay.
The only thing I added to it was I put one little thing in that would at least tell me what date it was open on.
Okay. And is there anybody else on the call who's using PDCMS? Have they experienced the same? I don't have all of my lists in front of me. Oh, someone's in the chat. Stacy. Oh, so in case you can't see the chat here, Stacy Reynolds said, when I spoke to PDCMS to NYSDA early last month, I inquired about this and they said they will pull the report for us. Stacy, do you remember who you spoke to? Was it Dondre or was it somebody else?
Looks like it was Dondre.
Okay. Okay. All right. So then Riley, as she said, she'll follow up and send an email and we can CC Dondre on that when you send it. Is anybody else also having NYSDA run a report for them in their PDCMS? No, doesn't look like it. Okay. Thank you for letting us know about that, Heather.
Thank you.
Amanda, you have a question?
I did. I was clicking through a little fast yesterday and I accidentally submitted mine. I only missed one little part of like kind of in the attorney questions.
Mhm.
So I don't think I can edit that part. I kind of was looking at it and I can edit a lot of the other parts, but I don't think I can edit that specific part. Is there any way we can fix that or does it necessarily matter?
So, well, would you be able to tell me what question it was?
Yes, give me 1 second to pull it out. It was one of the 40s when they were asking about the attorneys.
Okay. The attorney-client communication, maybe.
So it was on the specialized service person. I missed her. It was just her starting date. And then so what are these questions? This is 38. And I missed all the starting date for all the attorneys, but that was it.
Okay. If that's the case, then you can just simply email me the question numbers and what the start dates are for each attorney and specialized service position, and I can just input them on my end since it's a minor edit. So there's no need to go back in there and resubmit a whole new report.
Okay. And I noticed that like it wasn't saving my unable to report. Like when I would click that. At the end it says, and it where I would edit it, it also wasn't letting me, like it wasn't saving. So I don't know if it came through on your end as unable to report or like I didn't answer it.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know. On our end, we do a data review process after all the submissions are in. So if we do have questions about that, if there's something that's not clear, we will just reach out at that point. But
Okay.
thanks for flagging that.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Do we have more questions regarding the PRR 195? Okay, we can always come back if you guys come up with something else, but for now we will move on to the performance measures report. Does anybody have questions about the PMF? I see a hand raised. Heather?
Sorry. One last thing for the PRR report. I noticed on page 20 of the report, it's only asked for stuff from the dates 1/1/25 to 6/30/25. Is that correct, or is that actually supposed to be for the full year?
I was muted.
Unless maybe I have an out-of-date sheet, sorry.
No worries. It should be for the full calendar year. So
Okay.
I'll look into that, make sure there is not a typo on our end, but thank you for flagging that and for clarifying.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have a question? If we don't have any questions about the performance measures report, we can move on to the ILS 195 and staffing charts. But I'd like to give anybody who might have one a second. All right. So for the ILS 195 or provider staffing charts, does anybody have any questions regarding those two items? You guys are making this too easy on us. We're here to help. We're here to answer any questions.
We're taking all of your names down, and if you don't ask questions now, we're not going to answer your questions later. Which you know isn't true, but I had to say it. Come on.
Amanda?
So we had an attorney, and this is for the staffing chart. We had an attorney leave on December 31st, and we had our case manager leave on like the 29th or something of December. Now it asks like if they were currently employed on 12/31, do I count my attorney as yes or no? I know going forward she wouldn't count as an employee, but
Right.
I don't know if that necessarily matters. But I don't know.
So it's technically, was December 31st her last day, or was December 30th her last day?
It was December 31st.
Okay, so then you will count her.
Okay. Sounds good. And I guess my other question is I don't necessarily understand the ACP tab of the staffing chart.
Okay, so are you with an ACP?
No, I'm just the public defenders, but the conflicts office is downstairs, and I don't know if she's on this call, or not.
Okay. So the ACP tab is specifically and only for assigned counsel programs.
Okay.
So if you're at a public defender's office, you do not have to fill out anything on that tab at all.
Okay.
And for assigned counsel programs, that tab asks a couple of questions. One, how many attorneys were paid in the past calendar year for taking criminal cases, for taking family court cases, and for taking criminal and family court cases. So in those three instances, we just ask to report a number. And then the second part, we ask assigned counsel programs to provide us with the names of their panel attorneys, and for each panel attorney to indicate if they handle criminal cases, family court cases, or both.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. And am I guesstimating on what kind of trainings? Because I came in the middle of the year, so I wouldn't. There's not much backup information that I would have from before June 30th.
You mean the trainings that you have to fill out on the staffing chart?
Yes.
So I believe that that is only a yes or no question.
It asks for the number of trainings, I believe.
On the performance measures progress report, it does. On the staffing charts, we just ask.
Oh, that might be.
position, did this person attend a training that was sponsored by statewide contract funding, and that's then a yes or a no, or family court funding, yes or no. So there's just the yes or no answer. On the performance measures progress report, we do ask for a number of trainings that were sponsored or co-sponsored by the statewide contract funding, and also the number of attorneys that attended trainings, and that their attendance was made possible by statewide contract funding. And there we ask for a specific number. Now, it does happen sometimes that people do not know the exact specific number, and in those cases, it is okay to estimate.
Okay, sounds good.
All
Okay, I
right.
think that's all my staffing chart questions.
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank
Amanda.
you.
We had a question in the chat from Mary Jo Snyder. For the staffing charts, do we update the one you sent us in an email or start fresh? If there is a staffing chart attached to your link email that was pre-filled out, we do ask that you review and update that. If you were given a staffing chart that was blank to begin with, obviously that one you would start fresh and fill that in with any relevant information. Another question in the chat from Stacy Reynolds. What do you mean by sponsored by? I have always counted any CLEs we used state funding to pay for the CLE. Is this incorrect?
No, Stacy, that is not incorrect. That is exactly what you should do. So that is what I mean. So sponsored by means basically sometimes, larger providers organize trainings, and to organize those trainings, they use statewide funding funds, and sometimes they call it, sponsored by, which is also some of the language you use in the performance measures progress report. But the way you have been counting the CLEs, and if you just, count CLEs that you used state funding to pay for the CLE, that is completely correct, and that is what we're asking for. So thank you.
Okay, who's next?
Hello.
Yes, Tracy?
Yes. So I had a question in regard to counting number of cases. There's, violent felonies, other felonies, misdemeanors, etc., but there's no other. So do we leave that part out, or do we just add that? Like, for example, representing grand jury witnesses or representing on plea withdrawals, those type of things.
Okay, so let me clarify. Are you talking about reporting that on the ILS 195?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So on the ILS 195, indeed, there are the criminal caseload categories that, ILS's caseload standards have determined, plus 2 family court categories, very broad. But then when you look further, so when you look at question 15, there is an opportunity to put any other types of cases and to report any other types of cases that fall outside of those buckets, outside of those case categories. So those can go at question 15.
And then in terms of how you pull those from PCMS, that would just be based off of memory then, like the other category?
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. We have a question from Candace Peterson. If there's a position that existed in 2024 that's been eliminated in 2025, does the ILS code on the staffing chart get reassigned to a new position or retired?
Candace, that is a good question. So when a person retires, if you then open a vacancy to rehire another person in that same position, then the position basically stays the same. And so the ILS code stays on the staffing chart, and that new person that you hire in that position goes in the place of the person that retired. And I think that that is, oh, you're not refilling that position. Is that position going away then completely? Anyhow, for now, regardless of whether the position, okay, so if you're not refilling that position, the easiest way of doing it also for our understanding is to put in the notes section a note saying that the person that was in that position retired and that you are not refilling that position, so that we at ILS also know that that position won't be reposted or anything. That would be best to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Candace. Brenda Vandermark would like to know, on the staffing chart, I expect I will need to update salaries, but how do I determine which attorney is which?
Okay, good question, Brenda. That depends on how you reported your attorneys in the year prior. So there was a choice that you could make. You could choose to report the full attorney name or the attorney initials or an employee number, and so I'm not sure what you chose to report. So we'll have to look at that. I think perhaps the best solution is that, you know, we take a look at that after this meeting and we see if there's any way for you to trace back based on, you know, what you reported, who is what position. If there is not, then you and I can discuss what would be an alternative solution to this. Would that work?
I also wonder, Brenda, if you had a copy of your 2024 budget, if you could use that to align with titles, and then using the 2025 budget, compare and make updates that way. That might be a solution. You couldn't
Okay.
see any distinguishing initials unless I'm not looking at it correctly. Okay.
Yes, Brenda, I will also have a look at it for you after this meeting, and I will follow up by email to make sure that we figure out a solution for you.
Okay. You're very welcome. Okay, I believe everything else in the chat is addressing PDCMS, is not a direct question. Okay, Keith, in Albany PD's office, we had several positions eliminated at the end of 2025 with new positions created in 2026. We therefore had to transfer funding to these new positions. When I list date position was filled for the first time since it was created, should I list the old positions first filled dates or the new?
Keith,
And,
thank you.
and actually, it's kind of a question for the future because since the report will be based on December 31st, I'll be okay for this report, but I'm wondering about for the future.
Yeah, Keith, this is a good question, and my first reaction here is that I would perhaps also want to touch base with the ILS regional attorney to understand a little bit better what that, elimination and new position creation is.
Okay.
Can you, perhaps you know the answer to this, the positions that were eliminated at the end of 2025, or that were they statewide funded or no?
Yes, this was all related to statewide funded. When we had the amendment for the second statewide grant, we were able to get some higher salary positions created for 2026 and eliminated some lower. So I can pretty much trace which was, which went to which, because of course we kept the same number of total positions.
Right. So then my answer would be, you can list the old positions first filled dates, because essentially it's kind of like a revamp of the old position.
Right, that makes sense.
And so for that reason, having this information, I think it makes sense to list the old positions first filled date.
Okay, and I'll also put in the notes where that history is from for the.
Yes, that would be super helpful. I would really, that would be great if you could do
Okay,
that.
thank you very much.
All right, how are we doing? Do we have more questions? I see you're all being very collaborative in the chat, which we very much appreciate. I don't want to wrap it up too early if we have any lingering questions, but I don't want to keep you all here if we don't. If you guys have any other questions moving forward, if you think of anything later at any other time, you can always reach out to us. You can reach out to any single one of us individually, but we also have inboxes related specifically to each report. The email addresses are on the screen. So there's one for the family court report, performance measures, and the ILS 195. You can always reach out to any of those at any time. But we'd always love to hear from you. So I guess thank you for coming. Melissa, do you have anything to add?
I just also always want to say thank you so much for attending and the questions that you ask. Your dedication to data reporting is essential to what we do, because there's no way that our research team of 8 could collect all of the information that you provide to us by ourselves. So I really appreciate that, and particularly appreciative of the questions about the provider staffing charts, since this is a new initiative to get more information and also to streamline the data reporting that used to be required on the performance measures. So I'm always fascinated and very interested when you ask questions about like the one you just had, eliminating and kind of, I think we said we were revamping positions and things like that. So just thank you very, very much for your dedication. And yes, you can call and email us, even if you didn't raise your hand this time.
All right, last call for questions. I'm going to stop recording. All right.